like I really don't belong. I can't explain it. When I close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming? Or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming, or on the edge of remembering?
Hello, darlings. Okay, we are back. Air conditioners on, temperature rising, not as bad as it's going to be tomorrow through Sunday. Now, this is the coolest spot in my entire apartment. Only way to get cooler is when the other side of the table in the direct line of the AC draft, but we're not going there because when you're in the direct line of your air conditioning or a fan, you're also increasing the odds of your wool ending up on the other side of the room in a pile. Looks like a colorful dust bunny. So today we're finally going to go ahead and wet this down while I think I still have enough energy to be able to flip this over and set up the other side. So let's get started. It begins by me saying hello, everybody, and having a sip of my coffee, which I'm foolish to have this late in the day because it takes 12 hours for old people to get rid of caffeine, which means I will be up late again tonight. I've already accepted this as a non-negotiable fact. we're good. I'll try hypnosis or whatever later. But right now, I hit that low energy spot this morning, I think because I looked at news headlines making our president the king. So I found myself a little distressed and in need of my inhaler. So instead of the inhaler for the afternoon, I'm having coffee, which for asthma sufferers, you probably already know in an emergency, a cup of coffee, usually black, will help open up your passages. I guess it's the speed in it. All right, here we go. So on the other side of this white, heavy-duty, gonna felt like a madman. This is great stuff. On the other side of it is the delicate stuff. The merino, very fine merino, easily 19 micron, which means it's gonna be a lot of slippage if you get rough with it, especially because on top of it, I've got a bunch of very carefully arranged filaments of bamboo in 2 different colors. And if it comes out the way I'm hoping, it should be absolutely spectacular. Okay, it'll be pretty anyway. And I went with, oh, make sure the hands are dry before you touch wool that's not felted. Otherwise your water will felt it. Okay. I bought this absolutely stunning, I don't even know what you call it. To me, it's just a big braid of merino, super fine. Must be a bitch to turn into yarn. A lot of twisting. It's kind of a slippery fiber, but it's so luxurious against your skin. So I've got to have it. Even though this side's not against your skin, this is going to be the inside of the purse. We are making a purse. It's another practice run. I did try making this exact, a very similar pattern, and I screwed it up. I don't even know what I turned it into, but it wasn't what it was supposed to be. Oh, that's right. That was the one where the first part of it went well, but then I needed to use more black wool to finish it. It turned out it wasn't wool, it was synthetic, and the whole thing fell apart, except for the part that was the real wool. So we're trying it again with 100% real wool. No doubts this time. Now this wool here on the top, it can take a little bit more enthusiastic touching, but what's underneath it can't. So it turns out one of the biggest problems with using bubble wrap is it can very easily get too rough for fine fibers like this. Not the white side, the other side. And it can make little holes in your work. Well, although I am going to be focusing soon on another project, a cobweb scarf, using my 100-year-old silk gauze scarf as a sandwich layer. In general, you need to be very gentle with the fibers when you're first laying them down. You want them to start knitting before you start getting into any assertive rolling. And you have to make sure the water gets all the way through the layers, or you end up with these weird hollow spots. Too airy, it doesn't knit well. I can see by the color, because all of this should be nice, fairly uniform, kind of whitish. We haven't gotten things quite good enough. So I went looking today for bubble wrap, which is what helped me come up with more information about why not to use it in wet felting. Again, it depends on the project, it depends on the wool you're using. I have just begun my explorations in the different wools because where I'm at, I only have certain ones available anyway. So I'm learning more about what I can get locally and the kind of projects, you know, the wool, you want different wool for different kinds of projects. Like this white wool, actually would be good if you were making your own slippers, outerwear. It's tougher, bulks up well. It's also good, like I use it for the foundations of vessels because it'll hold its shape really well. But I learned that there's some wools that are even better than this for that exact purpose, doing more structural work. So I have to learn more about that. Also, find a source for that wool. What I'm working with today is New Zealand merino. And the other wool I purchased at the same time as I got these beautiful colors. I got some slivers of merino and silk. It is the most magnificent wool I've ever touched. It's so soft. It's kind of like, I don't know, kind of brought back feelings of when I was a really little kid, like carrying around my baby blanket size kid, which the age was 3 when they took it away from me. Actually cut it away from me. My father was a smart ass. I did not want to give up my blanket. And I was the first born, so they didn't have any practice. So what they did was cut cut pieces off my baby blanket every time I fell asleep. Until finally, I guess I was walking around with just a little patch of blanket. Nobody knows what happened to that. But touching the merino silk combination kind of brought back the memory of, oh, this is like softer than a baby blanket. And I flashed back to when I was 2, 3 years old, and I had a pink baby blanket, which was, as a child, I was just fascinated with how soft it was. I guess I still am, because I brought that piece of sample to bed so I could study it further before I fell asleep. It's like, this is amazing. This is amazing. This is amazing. Of course, at this age, I might just easily entertain. What can I say? Okay, we're getting ready to put water in my lap stage. So we're going to move this up a little. Now, next week, on a Thursday, I'm scheduled with a friend to help her do what I'm doing right now. We're going to have to do it. If we're going to work together, it's going to have to be downstairs in our community room, because it's the only place with tables big enough for 2 people. But we are entering our heat wave now, and it could be until Sunday before there's any hope of leaving it or it leaving us. And if that happens, I told her I'll have her come up here and just sit here and give her my spot and coach her, so she can have the pleasure of making a bag for her sister's birthday, which is why I'm going through this. I don't really need any pocketbooks right now, and I'm not in the business of making things to sell. So I'm doing this so I can make sure I can teach her well. The last thing I want is to coach her into a big mistake, you know? All right. I have to see, make sure we got completely drenched all the way through, which we have not yet on this edges, and I don't want to felt them too quickly because I need to flip it over We're working on from the inside out this way so we don't disturb the fine fibers on the front. So in observing how all of this is done, and how people talk about be gentle, think of us touching the baby's face. Well, I'll have to pretend it's a kitten's or puppy's face because I didn't have any humans. But I think I kind of get the gist of how softly I've watched some people. Let's pat things. So I looked up, like, well, how did anybody figure this out in the first place before the invention of bubble wrap, you know? And apparently it began with observations of where herd animals hung out, where they stood, where they slept, the hair that fell on, got trampled into mats that were very heavy duty. So people picked up on that, you know. Not all of us are idiots. So humans are very good at observing their natural environment, and hanging out with animals was pretty natural. Everywhere humans have existed, they have discovered the resources. I remember when I was a hippie teenager, there was an interesting thing on sale, like on every natural stores counter. It was a nail file. And the nail file was a single scale from a large fish, which was fascinating because it's like, this is cool. And then someone said, oh, yeah, you file your nails with it. No, you don't. It's too rough. You might want to file your dog's nails with it. I found it a little bit too coarse for human nails. I went back to emery boards. But we find things all over the world. When I was really into decorating eggs from the inside, until I discovered this wonderful German company that made amazing miniatures, tiny enough to build a scene in a chicken egg, I had to make everything myself. And I used, well, what was free, you know, starving artist and all that. And that meant going out into the real world and woods and fields, finding stuff, see if I could turn it into something useful. Now this looks kind of thin right here. I don't like that. I think we're going to have to add some to that before it's too late. It just doesn't look like it should to my eyes. Standing up and looking down to see your work is a handy thing to do. Okay, so right now we have everything knitting this way. This is going to change the way it shrinks if I go the other way. Let's see what we've got. Now, since I have not done any aggressive work here, I'm hoping that this will knit just fine. Oh, we're going to find out. But I do know it has to go in the same direction or it shrinks weirdly. And we've already got, this is 4 layers. 2 of the base and 2 of the merino for the color and the smooth finish. All right, let's try a little more. don't know how many of all y'all have ever been in the country where livestock are, or like, you know, stables or barns. Now, when I lived on the farm, I did not do any kind of livestock, but we had neighbors who had cows and horses. And I can tell you there's a big difference between the cow manure and the horse manure. And the reason I am leading up to something. I watched a video of a woman who was putting dung, refreshing her floor of her hut with dung. Now, I know in the old days, things were built with straw, mud, and dung. Of course, you know, you look at it and you go, ew, that must smell like, well, dung. But I said, there are differences in the diets of these large animals, and so there is a huge difference in their dung. The woman was remarking how she loved the smell after everything dried and everything was refreshed. Matter of fact, they call it refreshing the floor because it's a dirt floor, and that means your traffic is going to be wearing out spots that need to be refreshed. Which, you know, totally makes sense. But the smell brought me back to the farm. It's like, huh, I don't remember liking that, but then I thought about some of the stuff. It wasn't that bad, actually. It was, well, because the cows' stuff goes through 4 stomachs. It was, okay, this can be flapped. We don't need that too thick. This is the bottom, though we do need this one. The smell is not that bad with the cows. The horse stables, on the other hand, were absolutely foul, even though my friend and neighbor shoveled those out every single day without fail. None of her horses stood in their own manure or urine. Out everything, went every day, and fresh hay shoveled in or pitchforked in. My friends made me glad I wasn't raising any livestock. Definitely not my thing. All right, we are going to flip this over and see how it's doing. Okay, well, we can see the excess water needing to be sponged up, and I did dry some sponges especially for this. I'm going to grab them. Thank you, people in Switzerland, for inventing this. These were pitched as a replacement for paper towels because you can get thousands of uses out of a single sheet. That's a sheet. Of course, it's not like a roll you can put back together. Okay, so this is going to be the flap. So this does not get covered up here. I just have to do the body of the bag. And it looks like I definitely need some extra wool here. Because that's not flopping over. Oh, no. Gently now. No, don't lift. There's still two. They're not locked together, so we cannot mess with that. But we will put this back over so I can add a little bit of wool to this side here. This has to, and we're going to have to do that differently. No, we're going to have to leave that down. Let me go ahead and lay out some more wool. And here it is. What? That's right. We have something else we have to put down, because that's going to be folded forward. This is going to be the bottom. We need these. No silk, no web. Nope, not today. What? This looks crooked as hell. Come here, you. Oh, you came up. Ah, you came up too. Stop. No. Wait your turn. Yeah, I'll have to rearrange some of you, but that's okay. Make sure I got this right. All right. Now, oh. Yeah, what happens when your hands are wet? A little messy. Stay down. Okay, and now the pumpkin color. Beautiful. As it turns out, this is the exact gold that is in this wool. All right, stay safely over there. This is so dense. It's okay. I may have to cut this. I really don't like the sharp edges of cutting, but I need to get some of this more loose here. Oh, look at that light color right there. Come on, baby. Cut loose. Get some of that gold out of here. Man, this must be hell to turn into yarn. Oh, goodness. And again, I don't know. I don't spin. This gold is absolutely gorgeous. We're going to put it over that. those lighter colors to show through in the front. Gorgeous colors. This pink to raspberry to gold to sepia. They're going to want more toward the bottom. And these wool dyeing people are just such amazing artists. Someone suggested that I dye my own wool, and I was like, no, that's a whole nother art. That's a whole other chemistry experiment. That is not my thing. I mean, if I'd started many years ago, it would have been my thing. All parts of it. But at this point in my life, no, I don't have a farm. I'm never going to be on a farm again. I mean, like living on a farm. Also, I just don't have the energy. If I was going to get involved with this as a younger person, I'd be making all my own clothes, making clothes for my friends. Definitely promoting people making their own clothes with natural fibers instead of investing in crappy fast fashion that's made of oil. Seems like this on the bottom. So Mr. Gary is working. He won't even get off work for another 15 minutes, but he'll be with us after he returns to the same places. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, we're working close to the mic right now. Look at those colors. Yum, 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 yum. I was hanging out with one of my neighbors yesterday. She helped me after bingo bring all my heavy Crocs and stuff upstairs for dinner. Stuff I made for the community. And I said, well, you know, we're all a little different. So I myself, I'm crazy. And we laughed. And she said, no, you're just eccentric. So I've aspired to be eccentric since I was 7. I'm so glad that I succeeded and somebody noticed. Because that's really just a running joke. I didn't set out to become eccentric. I chose that label as a kid when I was being annoyed with, what do you want to be when you grow up? Mommy? No, I don't want to be a mommy, thank you. Oh, what would you like to be? And then they go ahead and they list a few things they think little girls should grow up to be. Mind you, this was the 50s. I didn't like any of the options. I said I'd like to be a writer and a musician and a singer. I'd like to be a scientist, like Madame Curie. I'd like to be a teacher, like Anne Sullivan. I want to be an explorer, an adventurer like Nellie Bly. I don't want to be pegged down at 7 years old into one option, what I might do with my entire rest of my life. I didn't think what people should ask that kind of a question of small children. I kind of get the impression that to please you, they've got to follow whatever that statement was. If you tell them you want to be a scientist, you get scientist toys, which I liked. I got a microscope. I thought that was the coolest gift ever. Except for art supplies, which was another coolest gift ever. A lot of fiber here. Very, very dense fiber. There we go. Looks like pencil roving, but you just go straight into spinning. This looks like about the width I would take to spin into a yarn. But we are not spinning. We are wet felting. White highlights in here. Now, I just learned today that another YouTuber sent me a gift. Some more hydroponic setups to try. Yeah, he's being so sweet and helpful because my whole goal is to teach residents in my community how to grow extra food for themselves as things get a little tighter and the weather, unfortunately, causes things like drought. So my focus is hydroponic growing as simple as possible for elderly people who can't do anything fancy, but they can handle rinsing things out, which is the biggest part of it. You have to make sure you rinse things properly to stay safe. But I'm excited that Mike is sending something I haven't seen before, so I can try other things and see what I can show to the group that I'm forming. See, I don't look at my email every day because it's mostly newsletters, things like that, that I've signed up for. By the way, you may feel it's really weird, but Arnold Schwarzenegger puts out a very good newsletter. It comes once a week on Mondays. It's got this positive corner of the internet. He shows real studies in health to combat sensationalistic headlines. And as one of the humans who has really devoted himself to self-knowledge and sharing what he learns, I really appreciate Arnold. So his newsletter is free if you want to look that up online. Now we go the other way. The white layers go down way faster than this. This is where we have to use some artistic discretion, because when you're using colors as the building layers, you're going to get color combinations because these are very fine fibers. So I have to think in advance of what this is going to look like when it's wet, and looking at the other side. Plus, whatever fibers are there, they're going to mix. That's how they become a fabric, by cross-hatching themselves together. So if you haven't noticed, all these fibers are facing one direction. That's what combing does. And the finer they are, the faster they can work up through each other. Oops. I'm getting messages behind the scenes and I can't answer right now. Now, I don't know why I'm having so much problem with this braid when I didn't with the other ones, but yeah. I probably started it wrong or something, because it's definitely put together in a particular way. I see. I get it now. It's like macrame. Okay, I want this part here. getting our dark tones here. I have to cut away so I get the lighter colors back up here. I was starting to wonder if I remembered to take my allergy pill last night. Hmm. So this lighter color. Oh. Okay, I think we can sit down for a minute while I break this up. Well, if this comes out the way I hope, I may have to design a whole autumn outfit around it. Just throw that in there. Little bit of sunshine right there. Okay, it is time for the outer, or rather the inner layers that build up way faster. Means I don't dump it on the floor or in my lap. We're good. Okay, let's grab some more off the easel. I've got a pound of it draping. Not less than a pound now. That's not news, Doc. I assume that you're referring to something specific that made you say that before you said aloha. Oh, the once a monthly. Thank you. Oh, gotta blow my nose. If you think that's crazy, I'm drinking coffee at 3:22 in the afternoon, knowing full well what that means for tonight. And yet here I am doing it. I just had an urge for coffee that was like bigger than usual, so I went for it. I'm not saying that's a good thing. It's just what I did. So I guess I'm crazy. Hey, get back there. Any process. Oh my God. Oh my God, that is horrendous. Did you scream? Did you call her crazy? Did you yell for the exterminators? Holy shit. That's like New York City tenement level. There's just no excuse for that. Shit, I'd call the health department anonymously. Glad you're finally getting to your coffee after all of that. Ugh. That's like traumatic. And the company should care, because if this gets out and about, it's bad press. Real bad press for private equity. They don't like that. But on to better. just a little more. Which guy just finished across the hall, I hope. And if I saw that, you couldn't shut me up. We took photographs of the roaches in the laundry room and brought them to management, who fortunately was completely grossed out by it and got on it. It took 2 months to eradicate. Okay. All right, I have to take a quick break. So I'll put a song on because I've been drinking coffee and you know what that means. And then I'll come back to put all of this together with water. There's no holes. This is what's giving the whole bag strength. The colors and all that, that's just decoration and a nice soft finish, but the real worker is this white stuff. It is heavy duty. Oh, get back there. Oh, I'm sure he did, because if that happened when you walked in, I assure you it happened when he walked in. Even if you scared a bunch of them off with the lights, they're still hanging out. Okay, I'm going to put a song on, turn this sound off. Hold on. And I'll be back in just like 2 minutes.
I woke up feeling like I really don't belong. I can't explain it. When I close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming, or on the edge of remembering?
Okay, darlings, thank you for holding the fort while I had to take care of nature. And nature took care of me. Okay, I got more warm water, although it'll be cold in just a minute. And I'm going to try not to spill half of this into my lamp because the bottom layer is very well soaked, and now we've got to do the top. So when I went into the other room, I noticed the clock said 3:33. So I looked in my little angel number book as if I had to. I do that because it reminds me of good messages, not because of any particular belief, other than we are constantly guided if we chill out and let it come through. Okay, now is where we get the tricky stuff going because we need to get everything wet. I'm going to try not to spill it in my lap. And flip over the edges to make them seal properly. Otherwise, it'll be one of those pocketbooks that just things fall right through. And if you do a proper felting job, you should not have to reinforce it with sewing or anything else for that matter, because felt is surprisingly strong. As those people who discovered felting centuries ago discovered. So now I'm getting a gift from another streamer here who teaches people how to grow hydroponically with the cheapest things, but he makes special inserts. And I bought some and told him my intention is to teach my neighbors who are old and poor so they can survive the coming winter of expected shortages. See, you know how humans are. They don't want to make a big deal about things. Sometimes they go overboard, and because with some people go overboard, others don't want to do anything. But the fact is, we have a lot of bad climate stuff going on right now, and that's going to absolutely create food shortages because of what it's doing to the crops. So we need to be aware of all of that. And one of the ways we can prepare instead of being scared is by learning how to grow things on your windowsill or in your pantry, like mung beans. Not everything needs soil. Not everything needs a bunch of light. In fact, sprouts, if you're eating them as sprouts, most of them do best in the dark, where chlorophyll, if you want that, you green them up for looks, but the greener, the more bitter. So not everything is, it's not always desirable. Now we have to be real careful in this stage because anything too excited is going to create a problem for itself. It'll make little holes, it'll rearrange the fibers. That won't be what you're hoping it'll turn out to be. So I've got a lot of X's on this side, so I'm going to flip the bottom up. Now remember, you're looking at the inside of the bag right now. So we don't have to worry so much about the colors. We just want to make sure that the seam is really good. As you can see here, we've got a lot. Okay, we need more water. Come on. Now I may have to make this go one way and the other way. But first, let's get the air out. Make sure everything is perfectly saturated. Okay, bring that up. Come on. Oh, let's get the air out first. There we go. Let's make a nice, neat bottom. Not too aggressive. The stage is still fragile. Everything's just hanging on by its own little threads. And we've got air trapped. That's the last thing we want. So it's going to be worked out without disturbing all of the stuff I've got at the bottom of this pile. Always reminds me of playing with clay. But not quite. Don't you do anything yet, because you're going to curl the other way when we flip this over. Which will be soon. It's always the scary part for me, especially when you start looking at bigger items. Well, this is, of course, going to shrink a bit. Now, flip over, my friend. No, no, no. Stay. You too, stay down. It's very delicate at this point. I need a nice edge here. All right. I better stand up for this. It's almost as big as me. Hi, Gary. How's Gary today? That was a cute picture you posted on Facebook. I don't usually go there, but I saw something that needed to be posted, so I was there briefly, just long enough to see that you posted a picture. And you're one of those people that just does not age. You look almost as young now as you did when I met you years ago. Okay, now this, we're flipping back this way. We've got so much water in here, I shouldn't have to actually add any more. Nice tight seam. over there. And I need you to be a little tighter here. Come on. All right, well, I'm hoping I did it right this time. Sometimes I don't know until it's too late. But I do know this needs to come down, and this also needs to come down. This is not. Uh-oh. It's supposed to meet. Yep. We're gonna find out. What if we take some more? Come on. I could always twist that up. That'd be kind of cute too. All right, let me get my hands nice and dry. I am gonna try something I wasn't expecting to do, so it's all learning. I was looking at some designer purses, not for their purses. I couldn't help but notice a good many of them incorporated their names right on them, which I always found annoying. Like when I purchase something, I want somebody else's name on it. But I do realize the need for identity, original designs. But just like I really don't like making my signature really obvious on paintings, because it's about the painting, not the stupid signature. But you do need to sign your work. It's like, what if I put my initials on the inside of things where it's not really obvious? Or I like to incorporate things into the design. We're going to have to work that a little bit longer. But carefully, not to End up with a puddle on the floor. Oh, yeah. 100%, Doc. They've even said that out loud. What do you think all the surveillance is about? Do you see what they just did to children in Tennessee? You don't want to know. It is the most evil thing ever. I mean, if I sat down and tried to come up with something evil, I couldn't come up with a more evil thing than what our government is doing right now in Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee's cooperating, so fuck them. They'll be responsible for millions of baby deaths. Yeah, we've got a very, very, very evil power and control of our government right now. Thing is, half of them aren't Americans. But I don't want to bring my vibration there while I'm working on an object of beauty. To focus on the ugliness while trying to work on beauty doesn't work. Yep, so now. There we go. That was the pattern it was supposed to follow and did not. I keep doing this. I don't know how I keep doing this with this center, but we're gonna have to do something about it. Like this. Going for more texture. Okay. Now, oh goodness. Let's get some of this excess water off, or it won't felt properly. But we can't take off too much. Oh, ICE is going to be going after a list of disabled children. Yes, you heard that right. And what's in Tennessee? Memphis, St. Jude's Cancer Research. They're looking for all the disabled children. They're looking to register all the disabled people in this country so they can get rid of them. And this is the plan, man. This is the Nazi fucking plan. That's where they're getting it all from. Steve Miller, Trump, RFK Jr., they're scumbags. Rubio, of all people, turned out to be quite a scumbag, a betrayer of his own people. They're very bad people. Anybody that does not vote blue in November is fucking insane and deserves what they've got coming. Unfortunately, it's never just them, it's everybody else. Everybody has to pay. They're cutting our food supply so they can completely take it over. Oh yeah, 100% Republicans. We thank Reagan for this. Reagan and the Heritage Foundation trying to save white people, white men. From what? I don't know. They're the majority. They're the ones that get to make all the rules. So it's a bunch of bullshit. We get caught up in being human because it's so real here. You have to take yourself by the hand and remind yourself this isn't real. Oh yeah, it's meant to feel exactly real, and it's real in its own sphere of influence, but it's not as real as it feels, because you can change it. You can change it, but you have to change your own vibration. It's the only way to do it. So when we're looking at the stuff that disrupts us and disturbs us and grosses us out or freaks us out, and our energy goes right down the drain, we're joining them. Okay, we're joining them because you have to be down there to do these atrocities. You have to already be a low vibration to do it. People of higher vibrations have no desire to hurt each other. People of higher vibration help each other because they recognize we're all in this together. Even though we come and go here all the time, it's not as big a deal as people make of it. We do have to recognize the roles we play while we're here. And as I have learned more about my nature, I am trying to use it, just like jumping timelines. If you don't raise your own vibration, nobody can do it for you. We can get pep talks, we can get those little teeny moments, but if those moments are not dragged out, those pleasures, the beautiful feeling of anticipation, that's great. But if it starts to get a tinge of anger or frustration that you're not getting what you want, no, change the channel. Wrong thing to be focusing on. Every time we take our attention from what can be and what we want to what already is, we're setting ourselves back. Just like Republicans are trying to set us back in history to get rid of people of color being able to vote, women having rights, all of that is what they want to go back to. But you can't. That's not what humanity is here for. We're here to keep growing and experiencing and trying, well, diversity. It's all about diversity. We're here to try being everything we can be, doing everything we can do, and that's from the cell up. That's why we have so many different expressions of animals and bugs and viruses and faces. And the faces get redundant to a bit because we are a limited society. But diversity is what we are here to explore. We want diversity. We're trying every combination possible in this third dimension. It's not a bad thing, but we've got people fighting against diversity, like, well, they're trying to hold everything like this and make things not change, but it's inevitable. We come here for change. So it's slower in changing because we keep looking at what already is instead of, well, I said, instead of the problem, look at a solution. Ask for the solutions even. If you don't know it, that's fine. But say, universe, help me be inspired to help find a solution for this issue or problem. We stay looking at what's upsetting us, we're getting nothing. Our vibration drops, right? Wrong place for solutions. Oh, it's worse than that now, Doc. Theirs is more like, I got mine, you ain't letting you have yours ever. That's what their gig is, all right? And I don't love everybody, Gary, because a lot of people aren't worth loving. I don't love Trump, and nothing he does can make me love him. He has done so many horrible things in his lifetime. He's irredeemable. He's all about himself. So no, I don't love him. Do I accept that he's part of the Matrix and he's one of us? Yes. But that doesn't mean I love him. I don't want to support him in any vibrational level. Not while he's on Earth. When he's off Earth, he's a brother. But where he's at right now is the opposite. So no, I don't love everybody. I tried that when I was, well, in the 60s. And I did feel more open-hearted about people and loved everybody. And Gary, if you love everybody, that's wonderful. I see the light in everybody, even Trump. But as a human, how he has expressed himself here, he's garbage. Period. There's a lot of people like that. I don't like or love pedophiles. I'll never want to encourage them. I know they're part of what is the opposite that makes us feel strongly about things, because that's how we create. Without an opposition, there is no creation. We need friction. Literally, that's how the universe was created. Without the friction, like striking a match, nothing happens. But when we are experiencing that which we do not desire, it tells us what we do desire more strongly. You just don't want to get caught up in it. Like, I'm miserable, I'm just going to go ahead and be miserable. Well, that's a choice. You can talk yourself out of it. You can do physical things to get yourself out of it. You're not stuck unless you decide to stay there. No, I just turn only good people. Oh yeah. There's a lot of good people. There really are. That's the problem. The good people are being quiet. They're not everybody, but a lot of good people are just, you see them, they're good people, but they won't lift a finger toward change of anything that they witness that isn't good for people. That's where I turn to James 4:17 to observe it, to misquote, but to basically, if you see an evil and you do nothing about it, you're just as bad as the person who committed the evil. I was brought up with that. It was always a matter of, you cannot see that and do nothing about it. It's just not godly. It's not being true to our nature of being helpers and supporters and comforters. I mean, that's what we were till about 500 years ago, when things took a real definite turn for the worse. Actually, about 2,000 years ago, things started getting really screwball, but as long as man wants to tell other people how to live, well, that's what brings all the problems. I kind of like the Conan the Barbarian world, a world of many gods and acceptance of all of them. You didn't argue with people or fight over their gods. This is who they served. That's who they chose to serve. And you could sit around the campfire and share a meal without, causing a problem. Nowadays, it's like, you believe like I believe, or I'm going to kill you. It's like, yeah. When people do get like that, they're not in touch with their higher self. Let's see, when you're in touch with your higher self, it is more about love, right, Doc? Love, love, love. Gary, people like you are easy to get along with at work, especially. Because you're always going to try and do your best. You're always going to try and be your nicest. to the customers and your coworkers. It's more than you can say about them. When you see people are down, you try to lift them up. You're doing the work. That is the real work of spirit. This has to be done like this, real slowly. Or we're going to end up with holes that we didn't need. All right. Let's try another flip. That's nerve-wracking. It's heavy. It's got like a quart of water in it right now. And I don't want to wear it. No, 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 no. Get back down. I need you to felt there. Oh, no, no, no. All right, we're just going to have to stay on the smooth side for a while longer. Let's try the rolling pin. Oh, gold. That will not felt. So let's hope for the best with this. I don't want to have the needle felted down because I'm trying to get more of a smooth seam here. Now this part's not going to be visible. It's going to be inside of the purse flap. It moved too much. Hold on. Too blessed to be stressed. It's a good one. Definitely. Listen to yourself. If you start feeling stressed, look in the mirror. Right? All right. This is not felting properly. We can't have that. Yeah, I didn't get aggressive yet. That's right. Okay. It will felt eventually, just not right this minute. Keep our edges up. So I went looking for bubble wrap again. It's a very frustrating process because every time I find something I can use, it's over $100 because you've got to buy a huge amount of it. It's like when I bought this, I bought 6 feet at 75 cents a foot. Very affordable. The reason I got it like this instead of the stuff I was using before is this has no seams. They perforate the seams for packing, so every foot or so you can break it. But that means I have leaking, so I don't want that. But this is It's very important to the process, but it comes in the box. They have to mail it to you and weighs so much that it's no longer 75 cents a foot. It's over $1 a foot. So, no. Of course, words are power. I got that from great speakers a long time ago. So make the words good. Or they say, make the words sweet, you may have to eat them. Oh, speaking of eating, I'm suddenly hungry. What time is it? Oh, no wonder it's 4. I had a weird appetite today. I ended up having breakfast cereal for lunch. I've got plenty of food. It wasn't a shortage issue. It was just, I don't know, it just felt like cold milk and cereal. But that doesn't really nourish the body very much, other than the milk. I guess I needed the milk. Maybe I'll have something with cheese. Oh, that's right. I treated myself to a bag of frozen cheesy rice and broccoli. I think I'll do that. I don't usually buy that kind of a frozen food because I don't want the extra processing. I'll buy like frozen broccoli or corn or just the whole vegetable, but no additives. But every once in a while, that cheesy broccoli thing is like, you know, a comfort food. And right now, yes, because of the world's headlines, I recognize my need for self-comforting. So I will indulge. However, I'm not ready to do that. As it's looking right now, I'm going to end up having to leave this to finish tomorrow morning. But let's go ahead and soak up some of this excess water. I think I soaked all of these now. Today, no, not today, yesterday, I was sweeping and I realized that my dust bunnies are now actually wool bunnies. It's kind of funny because, you know, usually dust bunnies are whatever color your cat is or your dogs or dust. But now I've got like clumps of bright colors too, floating around, merging with each other, getting swept up. I'm a tall, strong, artistically talented, good-looking black man. Do you believe that of yourself? When we tell ourselves things we don't believe, we're not helping ourselves. You've done all the growing you're going to do at your age. So don't frustrate your brain looking for something you can't create at this point. You're going to have to come back if you want that to be completely true. That you're handsome? Yes. That you're tall? You don't believe that. Well, that's true. God's always on your side, working right through you at all moments without you having to ask, because you're an extension of you, the bigger you of light. Okay, we got some of that up. But it's clearly not ready to start rolling yet. So we're going to have to leave this. And I am going to treat myself to a movie, I think, while I eat. Oh, did I tell you I figured out, thanks to Google search actually, the reason my Kindle is no longer handling SimCity? It's because I have a large city. You can only get so far because Kindles have a very limited gigabyte memory. My city is bigger than the Kindle can handle. I have to buy a new pad. Now, my Kindle is a few years old, but my city's been growing for years. So I know that's the most likely correct answer. And it told me what storage I need to run my cities effectively. So I did find one. Now it's a matter of who offers me the best terms to sell it to me. Hell yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all perspective, Maui. It's always perspective. I'm 5'1". I am towering over some of the 90-year-old people here. But if I live another 20 years to match their age, I will also be shrinking more. Gloria is down to 4 feet. My friend downstairs, 4 feet. So I feel like a giant when I walk down there too. It's always perspective. What matters is how you feel about yourself. It doesn't matter what other people think of you. It's always going to be you, what you feel about you. That's why I discourage people lying to themselves with fake positivity stuff. You don't believe it, it's not going to happen. If you want to turn to the Bible, it's an ask and it is given. But you only get what you believe. You receive according to your beliefs. Period. If you don't believe something is possible, it's not going to happen. One person focused on creating better, one person focused even on creating a better world. Your focus is worth 100,000 unfocused people. Their thoughts are scattered. They're all over the damn place. They're over here 1 second afraid, over here they're joyful, over here they're just loaded, over here they're getting pissed off about something, all bowed up about some injustice. The thing is that those feelings are connected with their thoughts, which is just all over the place. if you look at their energy, it's very diffused. It looks like, yeah, that person isn't going anywhere. They're just going to sit there because they can't get out of that diffused web of their emotions. But one person focuses, things change. And you've seen it. We have done this over and over the years. We have focused specifically on things, and within 24 hours or way less, we have seen exactly what we hoped to see, or have happen what we hoped to happen. Have the right person calls us or contacts us out of the blue. We're connected with everyone, any infinitesimal, can't speak anymore, infinitesimal. Usually you read it, the tiniest bit of your movement is detected instantaneously by every single other thing, because we're all connected. You just don't see it. When we're in a body, it automatically cuts us off from a great deal of distraction of what we really are. Why we have to keep teaching the same shit over and over again, because people don't get it until they've proven it to themselves a million times. So that works. Like a finger. Well, you are, exactly. I watched a woman from Africa talking about how in her country, a flat belly is not attractive. They want to have a belly. They want their waistband decorations to bounce on their belly. They want to walk and be bellied. They said, you come here with a belly and you're sexy. This is not sexy. We don't see this as sexy. Flat stomach means you're not eating. You're poor. So it's always perspective. And the danger is in trying to measure what your perspective should be according to the perspective of those people around you. So if you feel tall, you walk tall. People are left with an impression that you are taller than you might be. Because tall is not just a physical thing, it's your attitude, it's your energy. When you walk tall, it's seen. Just like I said, the difference between me when you just walk into me in the grocery store, me on stage. When I would get off stage and people would see me the day after they saw me on stage, they would remark that, wow, when you just seem so much taller. And they see me as a little 5 foot, back then 5'2", little woman. It was a shock to them because my energy was tall. So when you walk tall, people notice. And when you hide your energy, people also notice. Or if you feel like you want to be invisible, you can make yourself invisible, like I did when I was in high school. It's what do you want to project? Who do you want to be? If you could just create yourself energetically right now, who would you be? I don't mean like other people. I mean you. Would you be, are you proud of who you are? Are you confident in who you are? Are you too critical of who you are and you cannot walk tall? I'm not saying you particularly, Doc. I'm saying in general, this is a human thing. But you notice when people they are comfortable with themselves. Like on talk shows, when you see people on talk shows, their physicality tells you how confident and generally well adjusted they are. They have a bigger, more openness to them. They're not all hunkered down trying to make sure they sit right on their seat, don't touch anybody else's space, that's a little bit more closed down, more careful. But you see people who are more open and ready to just be themselves. You see them you see their body language. It makes a difference. So how do you want to appear when you go out in public? Well, how about if you just walk tall as if you have a big stick? Oh yeah, exactly. Large and fat. Yeah, isn't that bizarre? A lot of famous people are actually very small. They're short, and people don't recognize that. I was surprised when I looked up an actor because I just saw him in a scene on The Big Bang Theory, and I realized I don't know why I wondered. It's like the guy standing next to as a security guard, and he's standing in a certain way. It's like he looks tall, and I clicked on him, and it's like, oh, he's short. He's 5'6". I mean, for a 5'5", something like that. It's like I would not have guessed that. But he was playing opposite a short actor who was sitting in a car, and you never saw him standing until the later in the show. You don't see him standing next to the tall actor in the show. Yeah, who did you meet? Oh, that's cool. Now, Whoopi is not a tall woman, right? I got the impression that, again, camera angles for characters, but she herself is not a tall woman. She did a really funny movie, Burglar, something like that. It had some great comedians in it. One of my favorite, Bobcat Goldthwait. She played opposite him. That was the first time I actually saw him in a movie, and I thought he was hilarious. Then I saw him later in the Police Academy movies. Yeah, she is short. She seems like a very interesting real life human, the kind of person that could be a good friend to people. Maybe acting is meant for short people. I don't know. I don't know, but there's a surprising number of actors who are, oh my God, leading men. Tom Cruise, he's a shorty. What's he, 5'5"? And oh my God, in the old days, they used to have them stand on boxes to look taller than their leading ladies. Sometimes a lady had to stand in a hole to be shorter than the lead man because he was so short. Alan Ladd, Shane, all right? Man, everybody looked at Shane like he was the man of all men. And everybody had crushes on him. I remember oh yeah, Alan Ladd. It was a shorty. Nobody says, "Oh my God, that's a short actor." No one. You think anybody goes up to Tom Cruise and says, I'm sorry, we can't use you. You're too short." Johnny Depp is also not a tall guy. I don't see it getting in the way of him making millions as a rock and roll guy or an actor. So I think it comes back down to confidence and doing what you love and just being the real you. Oh yeah, there were soap operas were. I remember young people getting involved with them and me going, why? But they were so big that when they came to New London, when I lived there, and I was in the Connecticut Songwriter Association, we got hired to do the sound for, I don't know, Luke and Laura. I guess they were a couple that were getting married on a soap opera, and they were so famous. I didn't know who the hell they were. I didn't know their names as actors or actresses. I didn't know anything about it other than Luke and Laura. Oh yeah, I've heard those names. And so I was completely unimpressed by doing anything for their sound. So they could come and make an appearance to their fans in New London in a theater. And yeah, it was kind of stupid to me. But again, each to his own. But I do remember the soap operas were such a big deal. When my first husband and I got divorced, I spent a month at my friend's house in Massachusetts. And her habit was 3 soap operas. She was addicted to 3 soap operas. Life stopped as far as doing anything outside the house because she wasn't going to be away from the TV. So I learned that soap operas is when you do your laundry so that you can get it all and put it on the couch and you sit there and watch your soap operas while you fold your laundry. Everything was around soap operas. And I, up until that point, had never gotten involved with soap operas. I couldn't stand them when my mother was addicted to them, so I didn't pick up that habit. But by the time I left, I was addicted. I had to know the outcomes on 3 storylines for 3 soap operas. So I watched each one when I went back to California. I watched them until they resolved. The minute the question I had was answered, I was done with it. Turned it off, didn't watch it ever again. I can't even remember the names. Santa Barbara? The Young and the Restless? No. The Bold and the Beautiful? I think that was it. Something like that. Anyway, they were bizarre. There was one last one. Okay, so the first 2 I got rid of within a couple of weeks of returning to California. The last one, though, this bad guy kept popping back. And I was getting like frustrated, like this guy is so evil, he's got to die. And everybody was hanging on to watch this sucker die. And ironically, he died in a trash compactor at the end, finally. It was like, are we sure he's really dead? But yes, they didn't show it. Thank God it was not gross. But he was like, oh, now I can finally stop watching this stupid soap opera. And then on my honeymoon night, my wedding night, Glenn and I went to a virtual reality ride at MGM's in Las Vegas. And wouldn't you know, the guy I couldn't wait to see die was the star, and he was the good guy of this stupid ride. When I saw him on that big screen, I was torn immediately. It's like, no, he came back to life. No. But he was playing an Indiana Jones type of a guy, a good guy. It's like, all right, I have to admit, he is a good-looking actor. I'm not saying he's a good actor, but he's a good-looking actor. So I can see why, you know, he got the work. But how did anybody who saw that soap opera reconcile that emotionally? It was a real shock to me. Also, I'd had a drink, and the ride itself was a bit nauseating. But it was funny to see that. Like, how can he not be dead? Oh my God. I should just be going to eat. Gary, what's for dinner? Maui, what's for lunch? Oh, General Hospital, One Life to Live, Days of Life, All My Children. Oh yeah, those sound like my mom's. I don't know if you watched General Hospital. I think, is that where Luke and Laura came from? One Life to Live, Days of My Life, Days of Our Lives, definitely. Guiding Light, and another one. And when I was a kid, I noticed that if there was a transplant on one, everybody was going to have a transplant. These are the days of our lives. You watch one? The Bold and the Beautiful. I did. That was one I was hooked on. I think the bad guy might have come from that one. I was waiting for him to die. He was so evil. He was a perfect bad guy. This is too weird, really? The Young and the Restless. Yeah, they're reckless, all right, but I think it's The Young and the Restless. I think that was my mom's too. That one of the really old ones. I mean, it's got to go all the way back. My mom was watching them when they started. You're eating breakfast. Oh, yes, it's still breakfast time for you. And Gary, what's for dinner? How do you manage to watch a soap when you have those weird hours you work? I thought they were pretty much over like by 3 o'clock. I'm thinking food now. Walmart chicken tenders and wedges from Walmart's Deli. Ah, yes, a repeat meal. What's your veg? And what's for breakfast, Doc? You make good breakfasts. Y'all know what a quesadilla is, right? Is what? I can't read it. Barley? Barley. Barley's kind of starchy. Barley, really? I only do that in soup, actually. Like chicken barley soup is real good. Barley's really good for you, but I don't know how you're eating it because I've only ever eaten it like boiled. Doc, you don't watch soaps, do you? Come on, surprise me. Oh, beer. You can just say what you're doing. That's not a vegetable. That's carbohydrates. I'm waiting for Doc and you both to say, do you know what a quesadilla is? I want to tell you something cool before I go. I came across another cooking video. It would help if you knew what a quesadilla was. I can't imagine you being belligerent. That's looking for a fight. Carrot, onion, cabbage, and scrambled egg. Oh, that's real good for you. Nice healthy breakfast. And you get the most out of those because you're cooking them. No opera. Oh, TV series. Yeah, that's different. I mean, maybe not different depending on what you're watching. Because you do watch some heavy duty stuff that's very dramatic, which is kind of like a soap opera. Yeah, I'm practicing avoiding and cleansing my life of all unnecessary drama. Because again, the brain is going to chase whatever it sees. It's just made for images. I bought something called flanken, which is a beef product that I haven't had since I was a little kid, but that my grandma made it. But I saw it when I was shopping online, and I thought, hey, that's a reasonable price, I think. Let's try it. So I bought it, and I still don't know what to do with it. Car videos and crime shows. Yeah, exactly. I can see car video, but crime shows, no thank you. Because a lot of that is bullshit. The forensics are fake. They do a lot of tests that don't actually exist. So I'm kind of like, they use real stuff. They should write with the real stuff. You want to see Toy Story? I haven't seen any of them yet, but I hear they're all good. I obviously they wouldn't be doing number 5 if the first 4 weren't successful. How do you get out of this problem? No, I know. Oh, well, that's different. Okay, so they're not running forensics. They already know. Yeah, I don't like any of that. All of that to me is just too much negativity, too much fear, about fear. Like survival is about fear. They're feeding your need for fear and giving you very difficult situations where you find yourself having to root for somebody. And also, it's not real. So, I don't know. Everybody's got to go with their own thing. But like I said, I'm aware of my consciousness not liking that stuff. It brings the vibration down, and that's the opposite of what I'm trying to do. You learned the Toy Story was I can't understand what you wrote. I haven't looked into it because I'm not interested in number 5 until I've seen number 1. I have to see those things sequentially so I know what's going on. Steve Jobs originally was owner of Toy Story franchise? No kidding. That's interesting. I didn't think it was alive. Well, he died quite some time ago. How old is Toy Story? Oh my God. I guess it is pretty old. Um, I'm looking at my chat because I have to look here to see what you've written. Money floats around the rich because the rich manipulate the money. Of course it floats around the rich. They devised the whole system specifically to maintain people's riches if they're already rich. They're not doing anything to help the poor get rich. Another story movie just coming out. Toy Story. Didn't they just release Tom Hanks was on late night TV talking about the 5th or 6th. I've lost track. Like I said, I haven't seen the first one, so it's kind of meaningless what the sequels are doing or about because I haven't gotten there yet. I'm trying to read Toy Story 5. And I have a, what the hell? Let me see why I can't see half your chat, guys. There, okay. I have a theater across from my store. Oh, how awesome. That's great. Take a long lunch hour and enjoy the air conditioning in the heat of the day. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't usually want to do very much after work other than go home and have dinner. Because for most of my life, I have to go home and make dinner, much like you guys. So yeah, I'm not likely to go to a movie or anywhere else until I've done what I need to do for myself. Although I can't say I used to be as tired as you seem to be. I mean, I did stuff, but like my first husband and I used to like to go out, so we would still do things after work as long as it didn't mean being late for work. So Friday nights were good, but Sunday nights were always low key. Well, when then it's the next really hot day that you can get out, go and sit in an air-conditioned theater and watch the new movie. At least they keep air conditioning on, right? I remember as a kid, you know, when we had summers back then, it was always nice to go into the theater and afterward get an ice cream. I have nobody to do that stuff. Wait a second, I gotta catch up with you guys. Story one is on. Oh, thank you, Doc. I do have one of those apps. No, I got Pluto that you recommended. And Mr. Gary, I have never understood people that deprive themselves of joy because they don't have somebody to do something with. I mean, I realize people get self-conscious and everything, but I just never could understand why somebody would not take themselves out to eat unless they had somebody to eat with. And I do like talking with people. Obviously I talk a lot, but I would like having meals with other people. It's not antisocial. It's just if I feel like eating out, I'm not going to try and find someone to do it with me. I'll just do it. And I don't have any problem with that, especially these days. My God, it's not like you're ever really alone. You just turn your phone on, you've got texts and games and things to read. It's not the same as it used to be. So when I used to go out um, as a single person, not looking to hook up, I brought a book with me and I would sit in a booth and eat and read, which would be the same thing I would do at home, except the circumstances meant somebody else doing the cooking and the washing of the dishes afterward. And that's the advantage to eating out. That's a most old theater from the 70s. Well, they used to have air conditioning in the 70s. But if it's from the 70s, you probably have a nice size screen. Before they made it all about 5 screens in one normal size theater. Here, come here and watch big screen TV for an extra high fee. And it's true, Gary, it is a choice. It is a choice. But you should be happy with your choices. And like, nobody can make us happy anyway. We have to learn to make ourselves happy. If we can't do that, nobody will ever be able to do it for us. And it's nobody's responsibility to make us happy. They can't. Happiness is an inside job. So whether you're with somebody or not with somebody, the first goal is to become happy. And when you are very happy, you walk like you're happy. You attract more people just because you're happy. People love to be around happy people, people who are bummed out and have resting bitch face all the time. Who likes to hang out with them? I mean, who likes to go up and tap them on the shoulder? Hey, would you like to have lunch? Nobody. We are attracted to people who are more up. And if you need proof, every television show you watch, those people got their jobs because of being more up and applying for those jobs as actors or whatever else they're doing to make that TV show or movie happen. Anyway, it is late and I've got wool in my eye and I think it's time for me to look up a recipe. We will come back to this tomorrow. We'll keep it wet. I don't think we'll have any problem with that. It's very well wrapped. So tomorrow we will figure out exactly what this is going to be. And I'll see, where am I screwing up? Everything I make, I learn something about felting from it. So we're using some new material here. We've never used this wool before. So it's an experiment, like a lot of the things I've been doing. Let's try this. So, and that's important, Gary. Happy people make happy lives. Like I said, you're confident in yourself, you do a good job, you see the divine in people. You can go anywhere you feel like it by yourself and you'll glow. So walk tall as if you are carrying a big stick. And if you are carrying a big stick, remember to sharpen it. Until tomorrow, eat